So let's talk about something that is brought up a lot with me, and which is, people wanting to do a startup. And a lot of times people, look at the wrong things while doing a startup. So I will list out three most important things that you can do before you even think about doing a startup. So we are not going to talk about the case where, you already have left your job or, you know, are into a startup already, but basically we're going to talk about the situation where you're thinking about it and trying to assess what are your chances of success if you were to do a startup. So again, we're going to talk about three main things, three important things that will either be a make or break type of deal in terms of whether you can make it as a startup founder or not. And again, these three things are not um, something that you can easily address, but at the same time, these are three things that you can address if you find that you lack one or two or all of them. So let's jump right into it. A little bit about myself. I've been a serial entrepreneur for some time. I've done a couple of startups, and now on to my next one. And it's always a different thing that motivates people in terms of doing startups. And not doing a startup is also perfectly fine. So nothing like that. But let's skip into the kind of the problems that a lot of startup founders are kind of mulling and thinking about. One is, of course, I list out five big categories, which kind of then be, you know, broken up into smaller definitions of problem statements. One, of course, is the market fit and problem validation. This is where the product market fit, PMF, and those kind of things come into play. And the next one is, about the target audience and SAM, TAM. These are acronyms people might have heard of, total addressable market and things of that kind, and knowing the persona of the the customer that you're going after, and at the end of the day, what pain points are you addressing, or is your product addressing, right? So that is kind of the thing about the audience, the persona of people you're trying to sell to. The next one is kind of what I loosely call resource management and funding, which is everything to do with trying to raise money, trying to get the right people, trying to get the right office area, trying to get the right printer, maybe. It doesn't matter, any type of resource that you are going to use. This is another set of problems that you have to think about. And then, of course, you come to the competition, right? That's obviously a big thing. You need to know who you're going to compete with. What are the strong points, what are the weak points, all something more than just that. So you need to really have a good idea of your competition. And then, of course, the last but not the least is the usability of your product, because or your service. Because if it's not something that customers can use, even if you're solving the right pain point, even if you have the right persona defined, the right go-to-market strategy, right product market fit, right ingredients, you know from to 100%, 110%. But if the product or the service is not usable, nobody's actually going to pay you for it. So of course, that's very important to make something that solves a problem and is usable, friendly, and something that people can't live without. Now, these are kind of like the five, again, as I said, the five big things that founders have to think through, where they kind of stay awake at night and think through. And so now I'm going to jump to the meat of this presentation, where I'm going to present very simple three things that you need to kind of answer yes to every single one of them before you even actually get to thinking about these problems. But of course, it doesn't have to be sequential, but still, you need to think about these problems. And so now let's talk about those three things. One is, and as you can see, I put "you must" in all of them. You can read it as, but I'll explain what I mean by each one of them, right? So the first one is founding team. You must have three capable co-founders who trust you and will do what you ask them to do with no paycheck. You cannot do it alone. Okay. So if you're a founder and you think you don't need anybody, think again. You cannot do it on your own time, whether it's 100 hours a week or whatever it is. You need to have a team. You need to have a founding team. Even sometimes a team of two works, sometimes a team of five is enough. I mean, it depends. So there's nothing, that you need to, in terms of the size of the team. But generally speaking, at least have 3 or 4 people who are willing to go with you, willing to leave their jobs for you, willing to do what you tell them to do, and do all of this without a paycheck. Because guess, unless you are very rich, with deep pockets, chances are you won't be able to pay your co-founding team. And so you must have a group of people that are capable. That is the other thing I want to highlight in here. Maybe I should have underlined that. It's not just 3 random people or your best friends from college or something. These need to be 3 people who have skills that put together, form a team, which of course means technical, marketing, sales, operational, all those kinds of basic skills, right? So that's very important. The next one is investors, right? You must be able to count on financial support of at least 3 angels or family and friends or VCs that will give you money because you, right? Because of you. So these are people who trust you, who believe in you, who are with you. They are not going to go away. And these are people that you have built relationships with, that they trust you as a person, and they will fund you whatever that idea is. And because you are behind that idea, they are behind the idea, right? You might still have to talk to them and sell them a little bit, but at the end of the day, you are basically selling yourself and your team, right? So that is very important. If you think you can walk into, a Sequoia or some other big VC company, and you're a first time founder, and you try to see if you can get funding from them, yeah, they have a few fresh founders, but that's going to be a long, 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 hard road for you to try and get anyone to invest in you, unless you can check off on the investors um, test. And then the last one, which is again not to be not paid attention to, you must be able to sell to at least 3 customers that just adore you without doing a competitive analysis. So you must be able to take a proof of concept, an MVP, minimal viable product, or what have you. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you have come up with, there must be at least 3 customers who trust you again, who love you, adore you, and who will deploy this product because you are working with them through the product development, through the cycle of defining requirements and all of that. And they will give you the break that you need without putting out an RFP and without talking to 5 of their vendors and all of that. If you cannot convince 3 customers to take a product from you, don't even think that it's going to be easy trying to get other customers. I'm not saying it's impossible, again, like I said in the beginning, but if you cannot do all of this just by yourself, you're going to have a really hard time, right? So these are the 3 main things that you must think about before you do anything else. Have a team that will do everything you ask them to do, that you trust, who are capable and will do it without money. You have investors who you can you can go to and get some money from, for paying people who you have to pay because they don't trust you enough or they need to have a paycheck. And third is having a set of customers, 3 or 4 or 5 customers that will give you a break, that will let you deploy the product with them. Because remember, deploying a new product takes cycle from their own resources. So these are the 3 things I wanted to talk about here. And especially we are living in a time with AI and everything else coming in, a lot of stuff changing, but these 3 things are not going to change, whether it's with AI, without AI, doesn't matter. So there you go. That's all I wanted to talk to you about. And if you're starting a journey or want to start to think about your startup, best of luck. Thank you. And please like and subscribe our video and talk and share it with your friends.